It's okay. I know it's early. But what you're seeing, I mean, it's not that we should have a sugar rush right now, but the face of the cake is what I wanted to show you. This actually represents 50 most engaged employees who are part of internal Pitney Bowes social network. It is close to 4,000 members strong, and these members it's a very much a grassroots initiative, and these members not only come closer as individuals, regardless where they are located geographically, but also narrowing the boundaries of the individual business units. And quite honestly, you know, the vitality and you know, just the overall sharing and transparency, this is really changing the culture of who we are and how we go about doing our business internally. And what's even more interesting for me is that it's a great sandbox to teach our employees how to behave in an online community setting, because then later on they can go out and represent the brand in a way that, that we are comfortable with. Of course we need to have rules. But you know, there was a reason that I put this slide at the end rather than at the beginning, because I believe that that at the end of the day, you know, you start by a conversation and start by empowering your employees rather than telling them what not to do, right? The social media policy, I'll be very honest with you, we struggled with that for close to 2 years at Pitney Bowes. And the reason why was that we did not, we meaning the Social Media Council and people who are active in social media on behalf of the brand, what we wanted to have as a policy that was enabling and not telling us what not to do, right? So again, provides the boundaries within which we know how to behave, both as Pitney Bowes representatives and also as individuals around social spaces. We have a governance body in place with the Social Media Council, and again, the reason there is we want to have visibility. What is being said about Pitney Bowes, what others are working on, and the collaborative way that we go about it is really spreading the best practices and keeping us from not knowing what's being said out there and what particular business unit is doing, using social media for what. And of course we have training. Obviously we want our employees to be not only effective but efficient at what they do. So you can see the array of things that we actually are very much looking at community-based or kind of collaborative training sessions. So it's not kind of a classroom setting. We have a group within Yammer that actually constantly brings up best practices and a monthly meetings when we actually talk about a particular subject. We call it meetups, tweetups, you know, we have really nice names for them. But overall, again, what we're trying to instill is the community setting to learn. Yes, we are going to talk about results, but instead of me boring you with, you know, number of impressions and how we measure engagement, I thought we would just simply see kind of the highlight of what we've done in 2010. And I'm hearing that this is really easy. Yes, it is, indeed.
I think she has a video she wants to
Could we do that?
Sure. Should be ready to go.
Thank you. little better than me talking about numbers. Obviously, when you compare our numbers with the numbers of a CNN, they pale in comparison. But again, where we are is a niche, focused company, and being able to attract that much word of mouth and that much really valuable connections that are coming through our employees is really powerful, and it's changing the way that we look at marketing communication. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. Okay, I've got a lot of slides, so I'm going to whip through them, but branding and social media, that's why we are all here, and as was introduced, my name is Derek Beer. I'm a brand supervisor with Mason Inc., which is a full-service brand communications firm that's been around since 1951, and we do it all from branding and advertising to media buying to the PR to the social media and digital development. And right there, my mug shot is my Twitter address, so if you want to get in touch, please feel free to do so. And I've had the pleasure of working on some great brands throughout my 8 years with Mason, including Salsaritas Fresh Cantina, Dunkin' Donuts, Hospital for Special Care, United Illuminating, and a myriad of other consumer and technology accounts. So we've all seen this, or maybe we haven't, but the old saying, your brand is not my friend, right? It's a great article which was written 1 million years ago, way back in 2007, by Alan Wolk, and the article really got at the notion that brands tend to be a little bit intrusive and don't have a home in the social space. So it kind of sets things up here. And another quote that I like to talk about is that prior to the internet, the last technology that had any real effect on the way people sat down and talked together was the table. And that's Professor Clay Shirky out of NYU. He does some speaking engagements. And if you think about it, the kitchen table, the bar table, whatever, brought people together and we shared ideas and talked. But I would argue that now that the table's expanded and we are talking. We're all talking at different tables, be it Facebook, Blogger, Flickr, etc. Because technology has enabled us to even talk to each other in this room. I wonder if there are people tweeting back and forth right now, but we can see an event, make it happen, and go live with it just by using our, smartphones. So the 5 things that I do want you to remember from my talk here is, the first thing is social media is now a part of the entire communication and brand strategy, no matter which way we look at it. It's no longer its own little silo off on its own. It's got to be a fully integrated part of any brand program. And with this chart here, I won't spend too much time on it, but for any organization that's been through a brand strategy to really develop your brand and your brand DNA, rather, what's true to the brand, what's relevant, that is then, once you have the brand figured out, that goes into your marketing and communications, shapes your messages, which goes into your creative and your integrated delivery. So you really can't, the best way to think of this is, don't put the cart before the horse kind of exercise. And the second thing is, no longer can an organization rely on just on the traditional media channels to consistently reach its stakeholders. We're not really sitting around the radio at night like these people were back then, but another point here is social media channels provide the means to engage constituents directly, accurately, and cost effectively, and that now includes the brand. We're talking to brands, brands are talking to us, and we're talking amongst each other because we're more connected and engaged and in more ways than we ever were before. Another important point, and I think Anita touched on this as well, is social media can be measured, but in order to really measure that, you've got to define what your objectives and goals of the program are. And this should be number 5, part of my typo. But your brand promise has to be delivered in social media. So just to, and I apologize if I'm preaching to the converted here, but for those that know this, a brand It's not just the logo, right? We can all agree on that. You think of Apple, you think of what? Innovation. Cadillac, luxury. And so we can define brand as being a set of expectations and emotions that are brought to mind when we see the name or logo. Nike, just do it, get fit. And if we get a little more geeky and pontificate, a brand creates a set of promises and expectations. It establishes a relationship with its audience. It creates expectations about what a person will experience in any interaction, and newsflash, social media is a part of that interaction now. So anyone know Connects Credit Union in the room? No? Well, they're a client of ours, and they're Connecticut's 4th largest credit union, established way back in 1940, and they're the old AT&T SNET credit union. And their whole brand philosophy or mission statement is improving the lives of our members one member at a time. Credit unions tend to be sort of this co-op type of thinking and a membership, and people seem to be more passionate about a credit union than they are about banking. And as a part of their brand, their corporate giving, they donate more than $10,000 each year to various local organizations ranging from Little League teams to libraries and so forth. Doesn't seem like a lot, but they have 7 branches throughout the New Haven area. So Connects, we do all of their branding and public relations, and they were talking with us about going to, entering into the social media world. They were pretty anxious to do it. We were excited to enter that, but we kind of pumped the brakes a little bit and said, hey, before we do that, let's get an idea. It's a little fun acronym we have at Mason. IDEA, I being identify the conversations. Let's look at where people are talking about credit unions and finances or anything related to the Connects brand. D, develop a content strategy. What are you going to talk about? You just can't slap up a Facebook page or a Twitter or a blog and hope for the best. E, establish a presence. What are those channels going to be? And then lastly, actively engage your audience. So Connects is, again, pretty unique. They had an existing blog where they talked about various tips and, provided resources and company news. So we established the social media channels, and the first step we really took with them was getting them up and running on Facebook. And the blog was sort of their hub of activity, and that served as a lot of content for their Facebook world. And, we felt, and we were all in agreement, that the social channels would allow members and hopefully non-members to connect with the brand, engage, and gain something out of it.